What if this whole time, all you've been missing was a different perspective? You don't need any more advice. You need clarity. I'm Megan Mason, and this is Clarity Calls. Today on Clarity Calls, I'm sitting down with two incredible souls, Isabel and Joseph, a brother and sister duo who refer to themselves as energetic mechanics. They help people get unstuck by bringing clarity to their unique path forward. I had the personal privilege of experiences this myself when I had a session with them. And I knew immediately, I was like, they have to come on this podcast. I know you will help so many people out there. Um, you just have such a unique dynamic and you both just complement each other. During our session, you walked me through who my spiritual team was, the roles that they play, how I could be more intentional with the way I talk to them and work with them. And Isabel, you channeled my higher self, which was just out of this world.
Appreciate it.
But it just gave me a whole new level of clarity around my own path and the direction that I needed to go. So I'm very honored that both of you are on today and that we can dive deeper into your journeys and what you do and share it with our audience. And I really want to start off with you explaining why you refer yourself to energetic mechanics. And I know we're going to have somebody else joining, Joshua, who Isabel channels. So welcome. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Thank you
Thank
so
you for
much.
having
We're
us,
so excited to
Megan.
be here. And
Yes.
I think it perfectly aligns that we're here with you. We love what you do and we love who you are as a person. So
Yeah.
we're so excited to be here.
Oh, thank you.
Energetic mechanics, why we got started, is really it started with our father, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So we're siblings and we've been doing this for a while, and it started with him. He had a lot going on spiritually. He's one that I would describe as he could walk into a room of 30 people and see 100. And initially, he didn't know the differentiation between who was spirit and who was physical. And so he did not initially have control over what was going on. It was like it was controlling him. And so, what we wanted to help him with, and what he found within himself, is that when you learn the mechanics behind the abilities that you're doing, it can not only be productive and helpful for you in your physical life, but really help you move forward mentally, emotionally, and physically start to feel different.
Yeah.
And so a lot focus on, really specific of how do I open my third eye or how do I hear more? And wow, that's an amazing thing to do. If we start with how do I move my life forward and invite in my team to support me in doing that,
Yeah.
we can accomplish all of that purely with feeling based.
Yeah.
And so our goal with people is to help them get what our father did for us. So him and his business partner travel all over the world now helping people, and we're also starting on the same route. But what he started us with is giving us an identification of
Mhm.
who our guides were. So that was our jumpstart. We had an understanding of who they were and how they could support us. And so over the years, we started to learn how to work with them to get through things in our lives. And it wasn't starting with anything spiritual.
Oh my
I mean,
gosh, no. For me, it was like, I just want to make a friend. That
yeah,
was
right.
like my intentions at first. And I think it's funny too, because, we didn't really start opened up to all of this stuff. And when Joseph and I decided, hey, we're doing this, our dad, I remember having many conversations and him coming up to us and saying, no, you're not.
Because his lens was previously, it's something negative before
Yeah,
he
I'm
felt
sure.
that shift into what it
Yeah.
is now.
Yeah. And I think the turning factor for all of us trusting was our sister in spirit that we met, the
Oh,
middle
wow.
child between the two of us, Amelia. And she really helped us all realize, okay, this is safe. Like, we
Yes.
can have control. And so, once we made that connection with her, we just started kind of diving in and asking a billion and one questions, like anything you could ever think of, we've probably asked.
Yeah.
Man, that is so cool to just have someone on hand like that. I mean, I do that with my dad. He's in spirit, and yeah, just to touch in and be like, "Okay, help me out with this, Dad." I always joke and I'm like, "All right, Dad, if you were here, you would just be like, Megan, cut the shit and just go do it." So sometimes I'm like,
Yeah.
I'll have him step in and be like, "Dad, am I just being stubborn right now, or
Yeah.
or is this something I really should be doing?" And it is really cool to have all kind of, yeah, like a big team, not just loved ones, but more than that, that step in and help with any type of advice. And Isabel, that's really interesting that you said about the friends, because one of the very first readings I ever had, because these abilities I feel like just happened to me overnight. My story is very different from you two, where I did not grow up with anybody that spoke about these abilities or any like that. I had no idea. It wasn't until I was like 40 and all of a sudden I could sense spirit around me. But I remember one of my very first readings, my dad had came through and told someone, "Oh, Megan, you're gonna have so many friends." And I was like, "You don't know me. I'm a loner." But they saw a bigger picture that I couldn't even imagine. And now it is crazy how many friends I have and people that I can open up to about these abilities, and we can have real, deep, meaningful conversations. And yeah, it's so cool that you can tap into the other side, to help you with this life because it's not that
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so interesting how specific they can get too. And I think
Mhm.
something, that we lean others towards as well is the type of questions we're asking. Because
Yeah.
it helps to bring more clarity. Because
Yeah.
we've learned a lot of if it's all about what is my purpose, what should I be doing, what is the path that I'm supposed to be on. Anytime we've asked those types of questions, trust me, we've wanted those answers.
Oh my god.
It's always been, well, what do you want? What are you looking
Yes.
to create, and how can I help you in that?
Yeah.
And I can actually tell you a quick story on that if you're interested, because
Yeah, of course.
an example of this was the one where we were in the car in the art show. So I'm an
Yeah.
artist, is in Isabel Channel Spirit. So we initially actually started as a duo doing art shows.
Oh, wow.
So we travel and sell art, and that was we go to different
Yeah.
vendors and
It's
shows,
been for
and
a while.
this is how it kind of ties into spirituality here. Is we were going to one specific show and we were debating on whether it was right for us.
Hmm.
So we were debating, we were going back and forth the whole time. We were going to this open house. It was kind of like a artist community to where you put your art on the wall, but you also have a little workstation within it that you can create the artwork. And we
Yeah.
wanted to do our spiritual work within that. We were trying to tie the two in. And we were on the way to the open house and we got kind of a weird feeling. And I
Mhm.
remember asking her to channel and asking, is this meant for us? Is this what
Yeah.
we're supposed to do?
Yeah.
And we almost got a literal like
Like a shrug of
shrug,
the
like
shoulders.
hands up. And then, I kept trying to ask in different ways, and he kept saying, this was my guy Daniel. I was
Yeah.
asking him to bring in, and I kept asking, is this meant for us? Is this supposed to be for us? And then I changed my questioning, and I was like, okay, are you able to give us some pros and cons to doing this? And he
Yeah.
went, yes. And Isabel brought him forward and he said, okay, so you're going into this art show. What's your intention? And I said, we want to spread the message of what we're doing, that everyone can connect, we have support, etc. He said, if you are looking as a practice experience to get your art out there and to be in front of an audience to see what it's like, this could be perfect for you. If
Hmm.
you're specifically looking to talk about spirituality, I don't think this community is going to really connect with that. And he
Yeah.
said, on top of that, the venue that you're in, he got
He
really,
was like
you remember the
laying out the
specifics?
entire venue, the rooms, how noisy it would be, how many people would be there. And then we
Wow.
got there and everything was like exactly
On
how
the
he laid it
par
out.
with what he laid out. But it blew our minds on how specific he got about it, but then also the clarity and the awareness that we got around the situation was huge.
Oh,
So it
yeah.
wasn't should we, but it was the if your intention is this is how it may play out to help you make your decision and what you want to do.
It
Yeah.
is. Because at the end of the day, we have free will, and
Mhm.
really they're there to guide us with our best interests. So I think if we get more specific with what we're asking them of, you know, I think knowing what our end goal is, we don't know have to know how we're going to get there, but kind of knowing, what is our goal? What is we kind of have to know a purpose of just wanting to help people or like go more
Yeah.
specific, but they can guide us by doing that. Yeah. Believe me, I get that a lot. Because I channel as well, and I'm not as strong of a channeler as you, but my body, it's really funny how they react when you said how he was like, I get that all the time of like, they'll be like, I don't know. And like my head will go back and forth, like, I mean, if you want.
Right.
It really is like we have free will. And I'm like, okay, I have to reword this because right now they're just telling me it's okay. Like it's not the best, but
Yeah.
oh man, that's funny.
Yeah, it's so true because it's like we get this a lot too. I don't know if you've heard this one, but when they've come through in channeling, they're like, in a joking way, they're like, if we wanted to make those choices, we would have just been in the body.
Yeah.
Like if we're
Yeah.
not here to decide for you, we're here to help you with it. But if we wanted to make a decision, we'd just be in ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny. It is. Believe me, it is so easy to get in that mindset of being like, just tell me what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And they're not going to. And I get people that will come to me too for readings, and they just want these like very specific things. And I'm like, you have free will. Like you can choose what you want, and I can give you the best, guidance that's coming through, and I'll tell you what they say, but it's not always black and white.
Yeah.
What helped you on your end get more into that mentality of, okay, I can make my choices, I have free will, versus I feel like we all started in the place of tell me what to do. What was that switch for you?
Probably, I just kept getting that brick wall. Like I would ask them and almost like pleading and begging, and then it's really funny because I think I don't know about you guys, but like I went through phases where I was in a lot of practice circles. So then like you're doing readings and like you're almost hoping that these people are going to tell you like, okay, what is it? Is mediumship my path? Like tell me.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And they would tell me exactly what I needed to hear, but none of it was like, okay, Megan, you're gonna be a medium, or Megan, your path is to be a channel. Like it wasn't like so specific and cut and dry. Everything that kind of was ever coming through in readings. And it was just kind of like, I was like, I already, you're telling me things I already know. Like, it was kind of like I just got sick of searching and realized they've been telling me this the entire time and I wasn't listening. Like, was not listening. And they are there to help 1,000%. Like, I
Yeah.
love their guidance. And I appreciate it more. I don't think I appreciated it in the past because I was like hoping that they would tell me exactly what to do, and it wasn't realistic. So yeah, just kind of hearing the same messages over and over and finally being like, all right, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, finally. Yeah.
And I know you have stories of this as well, which you could probably tell some, but things that helped us get into a different mindset too was kind of throwing ourselves into situations and then going,
Yes.
okay, now I need support in this. Like I jumped in.
Yes.
Now
That was so much. That was so much of like how we are at where we're at now. We just dove into the deep end with no floaties
but
on and
and
had
Yeah.
to pick ourselves back up.
it wasn't necessarily in the spiritual end all the time. I mean, a lot of it was putting ourselves in physical
Yeah,
situations that
that's
were
true.
very uncomfortable, that was hard for
Yeah.
us to get through. I worked at a detention center for quite a while, and so that was a struggle in learning to work with spirit and how to manage my own energy in that kind of space. And you had a lot of different scenarios.
Yeah, before really stepping into this, I was a preschool teacher for a few years. I worked with 4 and 5 year olds,
Oh,
and I remember setting my intention before I got my first ever class of like, okay, the kids who really need to be with me, I'm ready to go and help them. And I had children who were very they were very autistic, and I had to support them with the rest of the class. I had a child with severe epilepsy, and he would
Oh,
have 30 seizures a day. Like, that's not even an exaggeration.
yeah.
And I think that was my point of shifting into really trusting my team, because at that point for me it was about, okay, keeping these kids safe and
Mhm.
helping me feel into how I can best support them. I wasn't sitting there like looking for information that time. It was like, okay, this child is having a seizure. I need to help energetically support them.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
when you it's like when you're in it, it's not, "Oh, wouldn't it be nice to have this information?" It's, "We this needs to be
Yeah.
accomplished now because we need to either help this person or get through this situation," you know?
Yeah,
It
that's
puts you
so
in a different
true.
mentality.
Yeah. It was like we both lived in fight or flight mode for like 2 years almost physically. And then that, I think, was the switch that flipped it for both of us.
Because we realized whenever we were in fight or flight or something was going on, we could go to our teams. Even so, she got more verbal responses and seeing, and so they
Yeah.
could coach her through what was going on.
Yeah.
For me, it was less of that. Sometimes I would go to her anyway for channeling, but other times I realized I could do it purely through the feeling based. I could
Yeah.
go, okay, I understood what the roles of my guides were. So I'm in a detention center, a fight's breaking out, and I have to be the one to break it up. How do I stay in my center while this is happening? And I would go to one of my guides, Ptolemy, who, when I would bring him in, I'm needing regulation and to be calm. And I would just feel this wave of centeredness come across, and then I could go in and handle the situation.
I didn't go to the extreme of a detention center, but
You had a lot of situations
Hey,
like
yeah.
those little
that.
kids, those are tough. But that is, I think a lot of people might not realize that you can ask for your guides to calm you. Like, it's happened to me like multiple times, and you can just feel this like whoosh over your body where it almost puts you in like a meditative state right there on the spot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so even things like that, sometimes it's not even words that they're giving you, or visions. It's just that comfort. Like a lot of times, just needing comfort during a difficult time and knowing that you don't have to be alone and that you can, call on them. That's one of the most special things about this ability and realizing that I had a team. Because when you're talking about like being in fight or flight mode, and I feel like I lived that my whole life until about a few years ago when I got out of it, and how comforted I feel and how you don't feel alone. Like you can
Mhm.
talk to your team like all day long, and they're funny and they have a sense of humor, and like it's just comforting. And you're not lonely, because this journey definitely can be lonely. It really is inspiring that as siblings that you can talk to each other about it, and you have a built-in person, because a lot of people don't, and their
Mhm.
families
Yeah.
don't understand this and don't accept it, and they have nobody to talk to. And what I try to tell people all the time is like, talk to your team. Like, you have this
Yeah.
beautiful spirit team that wants to be acknowledged, and they get so excited, and they want to be there for you and give you guidance and give you comfort. And, it's a very special, ability to be, or everybody has the ability, but once you, are able to tap in and acknowledge it's something special.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where we got lucky too, just like you said. That's where we fully go forward and say that was the piece of luck that we got, was being around people that also understand.
Yeah.
That is so, as you just said, I know how uncommon that really is.
I mean, that was my validation piece. I mean, my dad would be in one side of the house, I'd be on the other, and we would be saying the same exact messages, like relaying the same exact thing. And doing that enough times, it was like, okay, I'm not crazy. Like, I can actually trust this.
Yeah. So how old were you? Like, do you remember? Like, were you guys really young when your dad would be like open about talking about like who your spirit guides are or talking about spirit?
He didn't start opening that like can of worms until Joseph started asking a ton of questions when we were older. I mean, I remember when I was younger, I would see like spirit walking into my childhood room and like just standing in my room, and I would get so scared. And at that point, I don't think he ever really mentioned it, but I remember I would draw out like who I would see, and I would be like I would tape it to my door, and then he'd be like, "Okay, I'm taking care of it." And then the next day they would be gone.
Wow.
And so that's kind of how I started with that. But we kind of closed it off. Both of us closed it off for a
Yeah.
while, um, until he started poking the bear.
Yeah, yeah. Because he did always see it as negative for quite a long time, but when we were really like, he flipped the switch and was like, okay, they're doing it regardless, so I got to figure this out. And
Yeah.
that's when we all started moving. That
Yeah.
was about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And so we kind of said, I know there's a way into this. We're gonna dive head first. And he went, oh shit, basically. And then he realized he had to start figuring it out too. And that's where the other two members of our team are. Carrie helped him and us figure it out. And those two are a duo that have been practicing this once they realized, and he realized within himself that the information that's been coming forward that was overwhelming,
hmm
that was causing stuckness in the body, that was causing racing thoughts, can now support me when I acknowledge that I do have help. When I acknowledge that there is a team that can support me, it now becomes a team that helps me move forward in my life.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I channel in a lot. My two main guides, Ethos, and then my higher self, I call Joshua. But I met both of them when I was in such traumatic experiences in my life.
hmm
And I think seeing how that pulled me out of the darkness was
hmm
really how we all were like, okay, we can actually use this to support others
Yeah, I
as
mean,
well.
Yeah.
it was like we all had our own version of a trial, kind of. We all went through,
Yeah.
you had your dark situations you came out of. Mine was mostly the detention center I went in. His was the pain. And it's like through all of that, we had moments of overwhelmment where we had to
Yeah.
learn how to process effectively. And so, you know, that's really
Yeah.
when we work with people too, we see that very commonly because there's not a lot of understanding around it, where we start to open up and
Hmm.
then boom, it shuts off. It's like it's all
Yeah.
gone. Where did it go? And
Yeah.
we commonly see that as not good, bad, or indifferent, just a lot of information
Yeah.
that your body's not knowing how to handle. And so
Yeah.
that's why we got into the mechanics side of it, is how do we get things moving and flowing so you can actually release what's coming forward and then narrow down our focus. So we're not bringing in anything that's around our space. We're bringing in specifically our team that can help us process and move forward.
So during our session together, you helped me clarify that too because I felt like there was this like plexiglass that I couldn't hear. Like I knew there was like a ton of spirit around me. Like I could sense it. It was very what did feel like it like almost like if I break through that glass, like the floodgates would come and it would be overwhelming. And but sometimes it was very frustrating because during readings, I'm like, I know they're trying to like break through and like give me a message. I'm like, I just feel like there's this like something blocking it. But we were able to discuss that and you saw it and you were able to bring it through and you said, "Oh yeah, like it's protecting you. Like if that wasn't there, it would be so overwhelming for every, spirit, to come through." And part of me does feel like it was my own fault because because the way I call in, like I just like I just want to involve everybody. I just like love feeling the love. And so I think I'm calling in too many
Yeah.
people before I do a reading. I mean, I'm really like, oh, like all the ascended masters, like all the angels, everybody, come on. And we were able to talk about you had said, we're just going to get a representative from each group and have them sit at a table. And it's really funny because I've switched the view because that came to me in a meditation and I kind of just ignored it. But well, I don't want to say ignored it. I set it off to the side and was going to figure it out later. But anyways, now I like it more laid back. So we're all at a picnic, like on a blanket.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
I love that.
so it is really funny. I feel like I sit there and I can like imagine this like big angel next to me with these wings and like I don't know. And the rest of my spirit team all just sitting on like a picnic blanket and we're just chatting. And you just by simply it's like I already felt this and saw you were able to help put words into what was like I was experiencing on my end. And now it is. I still call upon, well, I call upon everybody how I used to, but I just say, I'm just saying hi. You all can go now for the reading. I'm just gonna have my representatives here. Um, but it's changed the dynamic and it doesn't feel so overwhelming before I do readings. So it's it really is amazing the gift, that you have and the abilities to have that vision and see people's teams and know what roles they play and just how to better communicate, with them. Because I know we all have that ability, but sometimes it's overwhelming. And I think we can be hard on ourselves that it's not clicking or we're misinterpreting something. So just to have that clarity, thank you.
Absolutely. And it's those, I heard you say in a moment, it was my fault for doing this. And then I go to, it's your fault for having a big heart and wanting to support
Yeah.
everyone, It's like,
Yeah,
and but it's kind of the unfortunate side of what happens though, because for those that get overloaded with information, it's because they want to support and they want
Yeah.
to bring that support in and do that for others. And
Yeah.
and so, that's why we're never like, no, don't do that. It's like, how do we find someone that can like be our manager, our secretary, and they can help us
Yes.
manage it and move through it,
Yes. Yeah,
yeah.
it's so true. Yeah, because especially anybody listening to this episode who's new to this and maybe your abilities are just kind of coming to light, it is overwhelming. And, I feel very blessed and honored that that I was able to follow the calling and I jumped right into like just listening to what was saying, but I did do a lot of research. I took different courses. I was able just to get a better understanding of what was happening and get terminology that I wasn't aware of. And I think if these abilities are coming online for you, I highly recommend just to do as much like research and education, but also lean on your guides because there's a lot of information out there that is not it won't resonate with you and know that that is okay. Don't if you're listening to something or in a course or there's a teacher saying things and it does not jam with you, like it do not try to force yourself to believe whatever that person is saying. I know that I have very good discernment and I'm like, thank you. Because I hear other people tell stories and I'm like, why did you not just walk out of that class or why why are you still trying to force doing it that way? Like that is not how you work. Like I
Yeah.
can feel it.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. It's like we are not creatures like made to be boxed in and confined. It's like
Yeah.
we're free flowing, just like the energy our guides bring. And I
yeah.
think so many people get stuck in this pattern of I need someone to tell me what to do.
Yes.
But it's like
Yes.
you can feel into it for yourself.
And it's like
Yeah.
it's not even a self-isolating thing, like I have to do it alone. It's like we can work with others and take what works for us. Like this piece works for me, this piece is
Yeah.
great, but that piece I'll leave it because it doesn't
Yeah.
resonate, and that's completely fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, with that, I was wondering if you wanted to jump into a channeling, Megan. We could actually bring Joshua forward.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Yeah, cool. All right, I'll bring Joshua in. We go get him.
I can ask him maybe an initial question and leave it to a back and forth with you, Megan, if we want to do it that way. That could be fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, Joshua.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us and joining Megan today.
Mm. Yes. What do you need?
Would you be able to give a little bit of understanding of who you are for everyone that's on? And then would you be willing to do a back and forth with Megan today? Just have a
Mm.
conversation.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Hello, Megan.
Hello. Thanks for joining us.
Yes. It's my pleasure to be here. Within Isabel's energetic space, I am acting as the role of an aspect of the higher self. I help to bring forward broader information in a scope that is not necessarily tied to specific reincarnations as guides are. When dealing with the higher self, or therefore aspects, it is supportive of understanding and integrating with a multitude of different timelines, lifetimes, and the soul's overall journey and purpose. Guides are more so tied to specific reincarnations and lessons that you are wanting to learn within these reincarnations. So, higher selves, as my role, is here supporting the overall functioning of the system. I'm here to support you and answer any questions that you might have for me or the space.
I'm curious about why you go by Joshua and not Isabel.
It helps her brain be able to differentiate between the energies. I came forward in her space at a time that was very traumatic for her. She genuinely believed that her soul was untethering from the body. She needed and was calling for the support that she was looking for in that moment. She has a lot of previous traumas from early childhood revolving around male figures. And so that is why my energy, even though it is her higher self, presents as a more masculine energy in the space. So her brain and energy can be able to understand that more masculine presenting voice, structure, features, energetic signatures can be safe in her brain. So, yes, while my energy could also be labeled in the terms of Isabel, I decided to come forth in a more male presenting energy to help align a bit of these traumas that have been held previously.
Oh, thank you for answering that.
Yes.
Another question is, do people have to go through traumatic experiences to have these type of abilities come online?
Not necessarily. Now, what I will say is that majority of people have the ability to receive information back into their space. It is simply about opening up that individual and unique pathway of receiving to be able to integrate the information that is relevant and resonates with them. Oftentimes, it is more so about energetic flow and identification of the core of your truth and yourself to be able to integrate with your team. Now, a lot of humanity has taken on struggles or roles of potential suffering, so to say, in order to uncover the layers within of the core. It is much easier to determine who you are when you very strongly resonate with what you are not. And so, while do we have to experience traumatic instances to step into the truth? Not necessarily. But is that a factor that ignites a lot of people for turning inwards to the self? Yes.
Mm. Yeah, mine came online through a traumatic experience. So I was just wondering about that.
Yes. Oftentimes that sparks initiative within the soul to begin turning inwards.
And how come some people can have traumatic experiences and it does not put them in that state of like feeling spirit around them? But does that make sense?
It
So,
does.
okay.
It is all about intentionalities. Recognizing when you were going through those traumatic moments, you were asking for the support, the help to be held. Similar within this energetic space. When she was going through these traumatic moments, the intention was support, helping ground in the body, helping find and feel the love that is around. Even when you are going through dense and difficult times, guides and even the higher self will not necessarily intervene unless there is permission based accommodations to allow them forth.
Hmm. Yeah, that's an I remember like begging and crying and asking for God's help and that's when I feel like I awoken. You know, people say that you have an awakening experience. So I
Yes.
can relate to what Isabel went through.
Yes.
Um, so what advice would you give our audience, people that are out there searching for clarity in their life and what's the best advice that they can do to move forward to find that clarity that they're trying to find?
Recognizing that your guides all step forward with their own unique lessons that they have learned throughout their journey of reincarnation cycles. This is why you not only have one guide in your space, but you have a multitude. You have an entirety of a team. Your guides, your energetic team that is there to support you, all follow your own intentionalities, your own truth, the core of who you are and what you emanate. So, with that, if you are looking to find a base of clarity for yourself, connect in deeper with your guides and allow that connection to begin manifesting for you in a physical and literal manner. It is more so about going in, turning that mirror inwards, understanding who you are at your core, your truth, your values, what you wish to uphold for yourself, what you are looking to do in terms of embodiment, in terms of service. When you can begin refining and defining for yourself who you are at your core, that allows the entirety of your team to now be aligned on a singular purpose, a singular goal, a singular motion of supporting your energy. You can rely on guides to help you feel that internal support that you have from the self. When you begin feeling in to who you are without outside perspectives, without internal judgment, but when you feel into the core of these are the attributes, the characteristics that I am upholding, that is when the entirety of your team can become in alignment and in true service of what you are looking for.
Thank you. And one last question. Can you explain what energetic mechanics mean?
Mm, yes. Now, the majority of humanity, when connecting in, are simply looking to draw forth a multitude of energies into their space in order to find clarity, as we are speaking of.
Hmm.
Now, with mechanics, recognizing that it is more so about flow, understanding where loops, traumas, emotions are stored in the body, helping the system become more future focused and developing a base for the self internally within the heart center. This allows for controlled connection. This allows for proper energetic flow. And it allows for you to actually and truly be in control of your space, determining who and what you are bringing forward, what information you are drawing in, understanding truly how to progress your life in the way you are looking. Because now we are not looking for externalized energetic validation as we do physically looking for others. We are now turning to the self, the core, and the team internally to search for the answers that truly begin resonating with you.
Thank you, Joshua.
Thank you. Is there anything else either of you need?
I'm okay on my end. I really appreciate you coming through.
Yes,
Thank you for joining us, Joshua. We appreciate it.
it is my honor to be here.
Welcome back, Isabel.
Thank you, Isabel, for doing that. That was amazing.
Of course. Woo, yeah, not a problem at all.
Yeah, I feel like your voice when you're channeling Joshua, like it has like a vibration to it that almost like it's like downloading. Does that make make sense? Like the information is like rolling off so fast, but I feel like I'm receiving it and it's like almost like a download from spirit that is like integrating into my brain. I don't know if that makes sense, but I can feel it like soaking in. Um
100%.
He has a strong presence.
yeah.
It's funny to see different personalities of either higher selves or guides come in too. Over I know you've experienced this, and over the time that we've done it as well, it's when they switch out, it's the same person speaking, Isabel bringing them through,
Yeah.
but completely different mannerisms and how they
Oh
talk
yeah.
or accents a lot of times has been coming in more recently. In ways that they present forward for that person, because it's so interesting how usually the guide takes on a character trait that that person is wanting to grow in. So
Hmm.
if someone, and I know that was like for me, for my team, Daniel is the main one that I go to. Back then, I was terrified of everything.
Oh
Generalized anxiety. I could barely leave the house. Talking to someone was a struggle. I would literally physically shake. And
yeah.
so he came forward very strong presenting, very
Yeah.
confident, very just do it, get it done, we got this. And that energy is exactly what I needed. I just
y-
really
That would stress me out.
it,
That type of energy.
it
Yeah.
drew me, yeah. Well, yeah, that's why our teams come in very different.
Hmm.
Um but it drew me to do some of those harder things of the detention center. I always lead it back to is I felt the confidence there with me. I felt the
Mhm.
presence there with me, and it's like, okay, this freaks me out in the moment, but I can do it. I have support. We can get through this.
Yeah.
Until I was going through those situations enough to where I realized, okay, I can uphold this now. Like I actually have that within. But
Yeah.
until we get that, it's like the guides like set that example and like demonstrate almost what it looks like to embody the trait that we're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get well, it's like Metatron, and it will make me sit like really straight up and like this like Darth Vader like breathing, but my shoulders are like I have to sit so straight up. My shoulders are like so far back, and it's just like this heavy, and he's just very confident and direct, and just says it. But yeah, I definitely can relate to that of like it gives me a sense of confidence. It gives me that sense of like wanting to stand tall and straight and put my chest out and be proud of like what I'm doing. So yeah, I never put two and two together of how they represent themselves of things that we need in our lives at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I don't think you've ever. Yeah, I
I
don't
don't know
even
if I've
think really
expressed it
noticed
in
that
that way,
either.
but
That's
it's
interesting.
almost the
Yeah.
opposite trait of whatever you're needing in the moment. But we also have,
Yeah.
the other part of it is, as you know, having a multiple of them. So like two things can exist at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my energy of Daniel, I also have the energy of Ptolemy, which is extremely calming to where I almost want to close my eyes whenever I invite him in. But it's like
Yeah.
there's, there are times where we need to shift a little bit, and having that duality is also really helpful within ourselves. To
Yeah.
know that we can handle situations when we need to, but
Yeah.
also not getting so worked up to where we're just going like this all the time.
Yeah.
I think I needed Joshua in my space because I originally had one of my other guides, Ethos, and he is just like information, information, like so much all at once because that's what I needed. And
Yeah.
so I would like be in my room for days at a time, just astral projecting, just talking to Ethos, getting all this information. And then I'd be like, wait, I'm not actually doing anything. Like, I'm just sitting here getting this information and I'm not doing anything with it. And so
Yeah.
when I met Joshua and really had him integrated, then it was that balance I needed of, yeah, that's great and lovely, but what are you actually doing with it? What are you
Yeah.
going to
But
accomplish or
but have you
create?
made a friend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's gonna be that wake up call.
Yeah. They'll call you out. They'll help you out.
What prevents you, Megan, from just going off into the mountains and saying, "This is it. I'm going to sit on a mountain and I'm going to meditate for the next 20 years."
Yeah, isn't that funny? My kids, no, I used to want to just yeah, just get away. Like I sent an email to my husband of like this retreat I found. It was like a 10-day silent retreat. He's like, that would be up your alley. He's like, that would be like your dream come true. But actually after like time was getting closer to it and I was like, I can't like just the stage I'm at with my kids right now. I'm like, I don't want to leave them for that long. However, I do dream about just going to a silent retreat. Um, I I know eventually. Well, I think my path again. I sometimes I try to push and push, but I think like my channeling path, I know it's going to unfold more once my youngest, at least this is what I tell myself, once my youngest goes to kindergarten in the fall, I'm just gonna have more time, like where I can actually like dive into it because it takes a lot to be able to block everything out to get into that channel. But yeah, I used to want to just be off on my own because it is very peaceful just being in your own head. Some people like don't get it. Like, why do you like to be by yourself? But you're not alone by any means. But yeah, now it took me a while to find a balance actually, because I could just be off, like talking to spirit and be like snap back into it, Megan. We gotta
Right?
take care of these kids. And so I was like, am I ever gonna find a balance between like motherhood and just human life, I guess, and then like yeah, talking to spirit. And I have I'm doing so much better of having this balance and being able to cut it off when I need to cut it off and jump back into my real life. I mean, it's all my real life, but it's definitely different. It's different, being a mom and then going into a channel. It's two different things.
Yeah. I think it allows for so much growth though too, because trust me, I already know the exact pricing to go to Thailand for 6 months.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
reason I know.
Literally, I'll be every time Joseph's like researching.
been.
Okay, Isabel, we're moving to Bali next week. I'm like, what?
But there's a amount of growth that can really happen when you're in the middle, chaos, whatever you want to call it. If we can call it chaos, if we're in the middle
Yeah.
of a lot of things going on, to be in the middle of that and find your center with that,
Yeah.
it's like
Hmm.
then you're really unbreakable.
Yes.
I always think of the Ram Dass story where he
Hmm.
says, he goes into the mountains and meditates with his guru for 6 months. He comes home, his dad asks him if he has a job, and he just gets into a fit of rage. And it's like, I was spiritual in this guru, and the second I came down, I just lost all my emotions the second something physical happened. And so,
Yeah.
it's like, how do we find that base and center within ourselves while we're going about our life and like mix the two together?
Authenticity.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like a huge theme that we try to support others with. Like being spiritual can literally just mean living your authentic truth. Like it doesn't have to
Yeah.
mean going and meditating
Yeah.
up in a mountain. It
Yeah.
can, but you can
Right.
also just be a person and find what brings you joy and create what you want to create. And that can be alignment.
I honestly think, even if you don't believe in guides at all or any of this stuff, but you're really following your core and your truth, you're accomplishing the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's having balance and just staying present. I feel like Eckhart Tolle, I took his course of becoming like a teacher of presence, and I think that really helped me find that balance between just being the soccer mom and running the kids to school and then doing this podcast and offering reading and like just having that balance of this like spiritual life I'm trying to live, but then just be a regular like mom and wife. And really it comes back to just being in the present moment and yeah, just enjoying what's around you. And yeah, I've been able to find that balance lately and I love it. It's bringing more joy into my life for sure.
That is so
Are you seeing both ends kind of mix into each other a little bit? So your physical life, you're getting more grounded, and maybe in the spiritual work, you have aspects in your daily life that comes into that too.
Yeah. And what I think is also cool about how I'm also balancing it is being open with my kids about what I do. And that's why I was curious on how old you guys were when your dad talked to you about it. Because I am talking to my kids about it. And it's not even, they actually, my kids, they sense spirit and they all have like recognized their abilities in different ways and we just have these open conversations and I don't know if it's going to shut down or if it's going to stay open and I'm not sure if this is the right thing to do, but I mean there was a time actually a friend of mine reached out and said I don't know why I had this feeling, but your does your son have abilities because I got this message that he's talking with your dad. And I was like, yeah, I feel like my kids do. And here I would thought like they would tell me everything that happens, but they don't. And I went up to him that day. I said, so do you ever like see Papa? Do you, and he's like, oh, he put me to bed last night after you left. I was scared of the dark. And he said that him and one of my uncles like sang him a song good night. And I was like, oh.
Oh.
So I really like and just like how you said you saw spirit when you were young and you would draw pictures, like I think our kids see and more than we give them credit for. I think they sense it. I think they know it. And I think the way have been able to balance a lot of it is like having these open conversations. And again, I'm more so like let them kind of talk to me and then but there are times that they're if they're scared to go to bed for whatever reason, letting them know like you have a team of, and telling them who their team is and telling them who they can call upon to protect them at night. I could go
Yeah.
on and on. My son last night said, Mom, I had a dream last night and you weren't helping me. And then Jesus came through to help me fight these monsters. But then I told him I can handle it. He could step away. And I'm like, he's just very open about who he sees and what's around him. And I mean, my other kid, he's probably the most vocal about it, but my other kids, equally have these abilities. And I hope the world starts getting to be where it can be a normal conversation and kids don't have to hide it away or be scared of it, and they can own it and know it's a comforting thing. It's not a scary thing, it's very
Yeah.
comforting.
Not
So,
labeling it as an imaginary friend.
Yeah, let's bring our
yes,
creativity
yes,
back. What
yes.
happened to that? What happened to it's okay to be creative as an adult? You
Our
know?
school systems. No.
Yeah.
Well,
And another
well,
episode.
that's right. But because we in the spiritual space too, it's honestly that's generally one of the first questions. How do you know it's not your imagination? And then we go, well, why would we push our imagination away?
Right.
It's a
Yeah.
great
It's a tool.
bridge, a tie-in
It
to
definitely, yeah.
being able to get the brain to start to drop into that heart space, to start to drop into
Yeah.
that truth. And sure, it may start as we see in dreams as symbols that we have to interpret, but when you lean into that, the symbols stop becoming as symbolic and become more literal.
Yeah.
So if
Yes.
we push away that imagination, then it's like we're not giving it the opportunity to flourish into really understanding that energy that's trying to interact with us or that
Yeah.
we want to interact with more so.
Yeah, like having the brain be an integrated part of the process with the
Yeah.
soul. Because I think so many are like, oh, the brain, I need to get rid of that.
Or
Like, get rid of the ego.
kill the ego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
And
wild. It's our personality.
yeah, it's like we came here to experience the personality, to like experience the thoughts. And so let's come up with a way of having everything work together rather than trying to like shun these different parts of ourselves. And I think it's just so interesting because like talking about kids, they're just like, woo! Everything they're aligned, their thoughts just come out and they're just doing their own thing. And it's like we just
Oh,
lose
yeah.
that as adults. But it's like our guides are almost there, like, okay, it's safe to go and be and act like that little kid you
In
were.
in a lot of ways, and you saw that end. I saw the detention center end. I worked with youth as well. So they were younger, 12 to 18. I keep bringing it up because that was a really impactful point.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
huge.
But, it was the same with them. Is when they were angry or frustrated, they would say it. So
Mhm.
was it necessarily a proper way of doing so that could be beneficial? Maybe not. But how I would think of it in those scenarios is what if this was a part of myself? How
Yeah.
would I talk to them?
Mhm.
With if a kid's in front of you and they're getting upset and they're cursing at you or whatever, they're a kid. Like we don't go, I'm gonna banish you into another, like
Yeah.
you're gone, I'm exiling you. We don't do that. So it's like, so why do we do that to parts of ourselves that are
Yeah.
looking just to express and to feel love? And it might not come out perfect, it might be a little messy, but allowing ourselves to feel that emotion and work with that part and not push it away somewhere that where it
Yeah.
winds up being stored later on,
Right. Oh my gosh, yeah, I could talk for another hour about all that. It is. I mean, just having my eyes open to all of this and um just the last few years of my life, like just I've changed my thought process. I've changed the way I parent. I allow my kids to like they're having outbursts for a reason, being able to more sit with them, like hug them through it and be able to tap in and just be like, okay, like there's something more going on deeper. And it is a reminder to do that to ourselves as well, because we are our harshest critics and always talking down to ourselves. But that has completely changed for myself this past couple years. Even just having to put reminders, it's sad that like I had to do that, but like even like write it on my mirror, like I am worthy. I am lovable. I am smart. And yeah, because it's really hard to talk openly about spirituality, these different abilities and channeling when there's so many people that still don't believe in it, and to have to still build your confidence up when most of the world is like, you're crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you both so much for coming on the show. And I would love for you to tell everybody where they can get a hold of you and how to schedule a session with you.
Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate
It's been a
it.
great time.
We are
Yeah.
Visions for the Heart. So Visions for the Heart on TikTok is our primary platform right now. Or visionsfortheheart@gmail.com if you want to reach out for a individual session. That would be wonderful too, to help bring forward your team, get an understanding of who's there and how to move forward in your physical life.
Great.
Thank you
And I'll
so
make
much.
sure to put it at the bottom of the episode so they can find it easily. Okay. Well, thank you so much. All right.
Thanks so much, Megan. It was
No
great
We
seeing you.
appreciate you.
All right.
We'll talk soon.
Thank you for listening. If something resonated, follow along and share this with someone who needs a new perspective. The views shared are personal to each guest and are simply their own, and these conversations are not a substitute for a medical or professional advice. Thank you for tuning in.